In 1995, SMLXL was written by Koolhaas and designed with Bruce Mao. It's 1,376 pages long. It weighs almost as much as a book. It mixes architecture, diary, entries, essays, photos, theory, and fiction. It's chaotic, and that chaos is deliberate. This book documents the first 20 years of Koolhaas's practice and became a manifesto of scale, globalization, and a condition of contemporary architecture. So by 1995, architecture had already passed through the utopian optimism of the modernism and the irony of the postmodernism and the fragmentation of deconstructivism. The Cold War had ended. Global Asian megacities were rising. Architecture was no longer about single buildings in stable cultural context. It was about a scale, massive scale, infrastructure scale, and a global scale. SMLXL responds to this moment. The book is divided into the 4 sections: S, small, M, medium, L, large, XL, XL large. At first glance, this seems very simple, but Koolhaas is proposing something radical. Scale is not neutral. When buildings become large enough, architecture changes fundamentally. At small scales, architecture can still be intimate, crafted, and narrative. At extra large scale, architecture becomes something else entirely. It becomes a system, infrastructure, urbanism, and sometimes pure diagram. In the S section, Koolhaas explores the fundamental condition. When architecture is small, it can't remain pure. He suggests that small projects are closest to architecture as an idea. At this scale, constraints are limited. Complexity is manageable. Intention remains visible. Small architecture can be conceptual, experimental, precise. Koolhaas treats smallness almost like a laboratory. It is where architecture can still be controlled, where the relationship between concept and form is direct. But there is also an irony. Small architecture often has less power. It is intellectually free, but politically weak. It can express ideas, but it cannot shape the city. This tension is critical. Small architecture is where architects feel most authentic, but it is also where their impact is most limited. As scale increases, architecture enters the realm of programmatic conflict. This is the M condition. Here, buildings are no longer simple. They must accommodate multiple functions, different users, overlapping systems. Koolhaas is fascinated by this complexity. He sees program not as a problem, but as an opportunity. Different programs are mixed within a single building. Office meets retail, public meets private. Circulation becomes choreography. This is where Koolhaas begins to develop one of his core ideas. Architecture is no longer about a form, it is about organization. The building becomes a diagram of a relationship. At the M scale, architecture starts behaving like a system, unpredictable, layered, and dynamic. Then we arrive at one of the most important essays, bigness. Koolhaas writes, beyond a certain scale, architecture acquires the properties of the bigness. This is a turning point. When buildings become too large, something fundamental changes. He explains The elevator breaks the connection between the floors. This is a crucial insight. In traditional architecture, floors are connected, spaces related continuously. But in large buildings, each floor becomes independent. Vertical movement replaces spatial continuity. As a result, architecture loses its unity. Instead of one building, we have many stacked the world. Koolhaas continues, bigness destroys, but it is also a new beginning. This is a paradox. Bigness is both a failure and an opportunity. And at this scale, context becomes irrelevant. Facade becomes superficial. Interior becomes dominant. The building no longer relates to the city. It becomes its own universe. At the largest scale, architecture transforms completely. It becomes urbanism itself. This is an XL condition. Koolhaas writes implicitly through projects and diagrams. Buildings are no longer objects. They are pieces of the city. And at this scale, infrastructure dominates. Circulation defines the space. Systems override the form. Think of airports, mega malls, like large cultural complexes. These are not just the buildings, they are miniature cities. The distinction between architecture and urban design disappears. This is where Koolhaas thinking becomes most radical. Instead of resisting this condition, he embraces it. He asks, how can architects operate when architecture becomes too large to control? Another crucial essay in the book is The Generic City. The Koolhaas argues that globalization is producing cities without identity. Airports look the same everywhere. Business districts replicated endlessly. History is erased. He provocatively suggests that maybe identity itself is overrated. Maybe the generic city is an inevitable product of the modern mobility. This essay sparked enormous debate. He writes, the generic city is what is left after large sections of the urban life cross over from the real to the virtual. This is not just about globalization. It is about erasure. The generic city has no center, no history, no hierarchy. It expands endlessly, replacing memory with infrastructure. Airports, highways, office towers, shopping malls. These become its true monuments. The generic city is revelated from the captivity of center, from the straitjacket of the identity. This sounds almost positive, liberation and freedom, but it is also deeply unsettling. Without identity, the city becomes interchangeable. Dubai, Singapore, and New York, they begin to share the same spatial DNA. Koolhaas doesn't fully condemn the generic city. Instead, he observes it with almost clinical fascination. The generic city is efficient, flexible, and adaptable, but it is also forgettable. This book is not only about architecture. The book design is also an architecture. Designed by Bruce Ma, the book uses the random typography and sudden diary entries, statistics, photographs without captions, essays inserted unpredictably. You don't move linearly, and you wonder. The form of the book mirrors its thesis. Contemporary culture is fragmented, overloaded, and non-linear. The book performs congestion intellectually. So between the projects, Koolhaas includes personal diary fragments, stories of travel, competition ruses, and moments of the doubt. These entries demystified architecture. They show the exhaustion behind the global practice. Architecture is not a pure theory. It's airports and jet lag, negotiation and politics. This human layer gives the book emotional depth. If delirious New York celebrated Manhattan's congestion, SMLXL expands that logic to the globe. Manhattan was a prototype. Now the whole world is Manhattan. But something has changed. The delirium is less romantic, more systematic, and more corporate, and more global. The scale has exploded. So this book transformed architectural publishing. After SMLXL monographs were never the same. It influenced the graphic design culture, architectural theory, studio pedagogy, and urban discourse. It made theory inseparable from the practice. It proved that architecture could think at multiple scales simultaneously. But it also received a criticism. Someone say it glorifies capitalism. Some say it avoids a moral responsibility, and some argue Koolhaas describes the phenomena without proposing the solutions. Yet perhaps that is the point. He doesn't prescribe, he diagnoses. So as a final summary, SMLXL is a monograph, manifesto, diary, and a design experiment. It asks what happens when architecture becomes too big to control. What happens when identity dissolves in globalization? What happens when congestion becomes a planarity? The answer is not clean. It is layered and contradictory and fragmented, just like the book itself. So this book teaches us that architecture is not just about buildings. It is about scale, systems, economics, and mobility. The unpredictable consequences of the size. If delirious New York was madness inside a grid, SMLXL is architecture inside a globalization, and we are still living in its XL world. Thank you for watching, and I hope this summary helps you and you will have the opportunity to read the actual text and learn more about it. And still, we are just halfway up the ladder of the knowledge of all of architecture, art, philosophy, and design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.